Hey there, everybody. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Rodney Harris. Happy Monday to you. Welcome back to work. I want to take you live first outdoors. I'm going to straighten up my tie. Mostly sunny skies here as we get you closer to lunchtime. It is cold outside, so we do still have our first alert weather day in place because of the cold. We had a cold weather advisory that was in effect until 10. That was because your wind chills earlier this morning were closer to the single digits. Those wind chills have improved a little bit, but it's still cold enough to where we felt like just keeping that first alert all day today. This is what I'm talking about. It's 34 degrees in the city of Atlanta right now. Our wind is sustained out of the northwest at 13 miles per hour. So look at what it feels like on your skin right now. 24 in Atlanta. We'll feel like the 20s around lunchtime, maybe getting up to freezing by 3 o'clock. So it's going to be brisk and just not feeling great the entire day today. So as we told you earlier this morning, make sure and bundle up if you are going to be out and about. Believe it or not, our forecast actually is connected to the blizzard that we've been covering across the northeastern portions of the country. I started with this area of low pressure, initially a nor'easter, and the reason we call it that is because the wind is counterclockwise around these lows, and so initially when it was closer to land there, that northeasterly wind was literally feeding in moisture, and it still is, out of the Atlantic, and all that moisture, combines with that cold air, and that's what you see here, which is the snow that has been falling across the northeast since this weekend. You combine that with a really strong wind, and that's why they have blizzard conditions. However, what I like to do is zoom out, because even though the worst of it is in the northeastern portions of the country, it's such a massive system that it actually stretches all the way back into North Georgia. And it did it in two ways. If you were up in the mountains earlier this morning, we actually saw some flurries. There was a report as far south as Marietta. It wasn't much, but that just shows you how massive this system is. And then the wind is impacting us. More than anything else, our winds are gusting about 25, 30 miles per hour. That's going to continue through the first part of the afternoon. The good news is that I am forecasting that wind to relax after sunset, but if you're going to be out this afternoon, it's not going to feel great. So I've been talking about these wind chill temperatures. Here's what you can expect. At lunchtime, still feeling like 25 degrees in Atlanta. That purple that you see in the higher elevations of the northeast Georgia mountains, those are the teens for wind chills, so definitely bitter cold there. And then as you're picking up the kids from school closer to 3 o'clock, feeling like 31 degrees in Atlanta. That's about as good as it's going to get, and still feeling like the 20s in the higher elevations of the mountains. And then later on this evening, as you are headed out, if you're headed out in the first place, it's going to feel like the 20s in metro Atlanta. So it'll basically feel like the 20s all day today, which is why we encourage you to stay indoors, or not be outdoors for long periods of time if you can. And when you step outside, you'll feel it. So you don't really need us to tell you that. It's cold. So that's your story today. Windy and cold. Your actual high is 40, even though it's going to feel more like the 20s and 30s. The high temperature itself will be 40 between 3 and 4 o'clock. And then tomorrow, it will be cold. Now, the wind's going to relax, but it's still going to be cold tomorrow. When you get to work, 25 in the morning, only up to 53 Tuesday afternoon with mostly sunny skies. I will point that out today as well. Even though it's cold and windy, it's mostly sunny. By Wednesday, more clouds, 62 degrees, so we're doing better by Wednesday. And we are tracking a first alert weather day still for Thursday for some scattered rain that will be out there. Looks like the best overall chance of rain maybe Thursday night going into Friday morning. Just stay tuned on the fine-tuning of those details, but we do know Thursday we will have rain that will at least start to move in. 67 Thursday afternoon. Whatever rain falls going into early Friday morning, we are forecasting it to move out by the time you drive to work on Friday. So Friday, we do have a tiny chance of rain, particularly early in the morning. But for your commute Friday, you should be in good shape. And they're up to 66 Friday afternoon. The weekend is looking phenomenal. Won't be cold this weekend. You won't have to worry about any rain. So Saturday, we're in the upper 60s for highs. By Sunday, we are in the low 70s. So definitely go ahead and know right out of the gate that you can enjoy this weekend. It'll feel a bit more like spring this weekend versus the cold air that we're feeling right now. So 2 first alerts in your 7-day forecast. The first is for today because of the cold and the wind. So make sure and grab that coat as you get out and about. And then the second first alert is for rain on Thursday. We'll fine-tune the timing of that rain throughout the course of the week. And if you are traveling to the Northeast, make sure and download our First Alert weather app. Follow radar there because they are still seeing some snow and some really strong winds because of what has been a blizzard for them over the past couple of days. So just be mindful of that if you're traveling to the East Coast. And a lot of times in situations like that, that could just impact travel, period. So if you have any travel plans, you can, whether it's the First Alert weather app or the Atlanta News First app, definitely log into those to get the latest on what's happening up there. And our weather will improve. I promise our weather will improve tomorrow going into Wednesday. For a look at your headlines for today, we'll introduce Maria.
And we have a lot of headlines, a lot of activity over the weekend impacting us here locally in Atlanta. As far as the national level, we're going to get into all of that after this short break.
Atlanta News First Plus starts now.
And welcome back here as we get into your top headlines on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Maria Moreau, and we want to start by getting you straight out to Cobb County, where we are following a deadly fire. 3 people, we know at least 3 people have been killed. We're talking with Atlanta News First reporter Don Shipman. And Don, I can see fire trucks behind you. This has been really a firefight into the overnight hours, and now an investigation in a community just grappling with this tremendous loss. What are you hearing out there?
Everyone updated on right now is that I just heard from fire officials, and they told me that they're now confirming 3 people killed, and of the 3 people, 2 of them are children. So that is an update that we are just getting into our newsroom here. 2 children killed and 1 adult killed in this fire. I want to show you what's going on here, because firefighters are still here. And keep in mind, they have been here for a number of hours. This fire broke out right around 10:30 last night. But right now, fire trucks are here and fire investigators are here. They're focusing a lot of their attention on that second floor unit over there in the corner. They believe that is the unit where the fire started. What they don't know is how the fire started. But this is what firefighters told me. They told me that when they first got here, flames were shooting out of that window on that second floor unit in the corner. And then those flames quickly spread throughout the upstairs, the third floor, and then into the attic. And this was a fast-moving fire as well. It was quite windy during the overnight hours, and no doubt that did play a role in this fire spreading so quickly. Again, 3 people killed in this fire. Of the 3 people, 2 of them are children killed in this fire. Right now, there are a lot of people who live in this community. They are here. They have been coming out, just kind of checking in on the people who live in this building. And then some of the people who live in this building, specifically on that side where you're looking right now from our live picture, that side of the building, it's not livable. So they're able to get inside, though, and at least gather some of their belongings. And we've been watching as they've been doing that. Fire officials say that upwards of 30 people are now displaced because of this fire. Another aspect of this, too, that I want to tell you about, when firefighters first got here during the late last night and overnight, there were reports of people trapped inside. They ended up pulling 6 people from the building. They were rushed to the hospital. Some of them were already in cardiac arrest, so they were rushed to the ER, 2 separate hospitals because there were so many victims. And then on top of that, there were upwards of 15 people who were trapped in the building on their porches on the 2nd and 3rd floor. Firefighters had to use ladders to rescue those people from their apartments. So definitely a scary situation. And then this community, of course, right now just grappling with the idea that, 3 people lost their lives and then 2 of them are small children. Maria?
Yeah, Don, I can only imagine starting your week off to something like this. Have you been able to talk to some of the community members, some of the residents in the area?
Can you say that one more time? Just having difficulty hearing you.
Can you hear me better now? Just checking in, Don. If you're able to hear me, let me know. We were just wondering if you were able to talk to any of the residents.
Now
or
I hear you. I'm
community.
sorry. I hear you now. So yeah, you're asking about people who live here and people in the community. So I talked with this one woman. She lives a couple buildings up, and she said that she woke up to her son telling her that one of the buildings was on fire. She came out of her bedroom and she said that the 2nd and 3rd floor was engulfed in flames. And then she could hear people on the outside of the building screaming and saying that there were people trapped inside. She said it was very frantic. And then when she learned that children died in this fire, she said it's unimaginable. She can't imagine what those families are going through right now with that type of loss. She has children of her own, and she said it's shocking, and she can't imagine what they're going through. So definitely a sad situation here. One thing I do want to know is that while investigators are working to figure out exactly how the fire started, I did ask fire officials, were the smoke detectors working in this building? And they tell me right now they don't know if they were working. But one thing to keep in mind, and I brought it up, and we've been talking about it throughout the morning, it's been so windy, and everyone that we've talked to said that this fire happened so fast, it's not even clear if a smoke detector would have been much warning at all, even if they were working. So again, not clear if they were working or not, but that's something that fire investigators will definitely be looking into as we move throughout the day today. Maria?
This is certainly a story that is difficult to report. We talk about children involved, and we talk about a situation where not a lot could have been done. We know you'll stay on top of it. Don, coming up for Atlanta News First News at noon. We'll tune back in then with you for an update. I do want to take folks out here to DeKalb County, where we are also following another fire battle that went into the morning. In fact, there were 2 separate fires in Decatur, just 3 miles from each other. Atlanta News First Sarah Hammond was at that scene of one of those fires on Pinehurst Place.
Is very severe to this home. We know the fire started around 3 o'clock this morning, but take a look here. About 6 hours later, these firefighters are still hard at work. They put the ladder back up. They're shooting water down into the home where the roof used to be. There is a ton of damage to this house because of this fire. Now, when our crews got here overnight, we could see those flames coming from the house. We know that 2 people were taken to Grady Memorial Hospital with minor injuries. No firefighters were injured, and Battalion Chief Colby Davis said high winds made this fire escalate quickly. He said they used hand lines and aerial operations to get the fire under control, and that wind made it even more difficult and dangerous for them.
When we have winds like this, it is an extreme danger to us, so we have to meticulously make sure we do the right things in placement, hand lines, and things like that.
Again, these firefighters still hard at work here, but just 3 miles down the road, another fire overnight made worse by these high winds. This one on Columbia Crossing, and Battalion Chief Davis called that house a total loss. No one was hurt in that fire. We do not know the cause of either one of these fires, but we know fire investigators are working on that. Live here in Decatur, Sarah Hammond for Atlanta News First.
And I want to talk about the activity going on in Mexico right now impacting us here, right here in Atlanta. The U.S. urging Americans in those parts of Mexico to shelter in place after the death of a most wanted drug trafficker. Jalisco New Generation cartel head El Mencho died after a Mexican military operation that we reported to you on Sunday. Now, since then, suspected gang members have unleashed a wave of violence in several areas across the country. El Mencho was a former police officer. He led one of the most powerful and ruthless criminal organizations in Mexico. And according to U.S. drug enforcement agencies, he was wanted by U.S. authorities who offered millions for information on his whereabouts. Now, of course, we are following some of what is going on in Mexico as we continue to watch flight impacts, what's happening in the streets and the civil unrest involved since Sunday. I want to show you some of the videos here, and I do apologize. Let me just change over my graphics here, get you a more accurate update of what we're talking about. The White House saying that the U.S. did provide intelligence in the operation targeting El Mencho. This video, again, taken by an Atlanta resident who is currently in Mexico, one of many that we're getting in from our viewers like you who are right now sheltering in place. Their flights out of Mexico have been canceled. They are trying to stay as safe as they can as some of this activity is continuing on and intensifying. Now, that Atlanta resident, again, we spoke to him off camera. He said he woke up Sunday to the sound of multiple explosions outside of his vacation rental. You can imagine what a shock that is to catch a flight, go on vacation, go on business, go on leisure, and find yourself amidst a scene like this. There's some more video for you just showing the situation that is transpiring. And as I mentioned, flight impacts a major deal for us here in the U.S. Flights to Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara from Atlanta all canceled, delayed on Sunday, diverted because of the operation and the civil unrest that we've saw since. Now, Delta says that flights could be affected through at least Thursday, but they are monitoring the situation as we are as well. I want to take you now out to a report from Atlanta's first reporter, Justin Berger, who took a look at some of the activity that we're seeing in Mexico and the local impacts here in Atlanta.
I think we're feeling, safe in the place that we are, but it's just the kind of uncertainty.
Rounds of explosions within earshot of Alexander Korz's vacation rental.
Like really loud detonation. Everyone was wondering what's happening. You open the blinds and there's just like piles of smoke going up.
These images show the view from his window, a beach town south of the Puerto Vallarta airport.
There was 2 abandoned police cars in the street, but you didn't see a lot of, official presence for most of the day.
Korz is on vacation with friends and family. The Midtown Atlanta resident says he's watched several vehicles burning for hours throughout the day. Several flights to Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara were impacted Sunday.
Got on a flight to go to Puerto Vallarta. We got not even halfway there, and the guy got on the airplane and said, "There's weird things going on in Puerto Vallarta, so we're going to turn around." And that was it. There's no more information.
A 2-week adventure for Landon Chappell's family.
Got my kids, my wife. Yeah, this is our big vacation, and now it's gone.
Chappell left to figure out himself how he's going to get his family back home to Denver. In Mexico, Alexander Korz was already scheduled to stay through early March.
we're probably just gonna sit it out. We're down to our last bottle of beer, but we're in good spirits.
Justin Berger, Atlanta News First.
Speaking of flight impacts, we also reported to you over the weekend that the news from the Department of Homeland Security indicating that they would plan to suspend TSA PreCheck and global entry programs. Well, that decision has since been reversed after causing much confusion for travelers. This morning, the Transportation Security Authority is saying that PreCheck and global entry remain operational. So good news there. If you have those things, continue as normal. Now, the Department of Homeland Security said the two programs were going to be suspended as part of the partial government shutdown. But transportation security officials now reassuring passengers everything will remain as it has standard operation. Hartsfield-Jackson saying that travelers with global entry should allow for extra time for those standard security processing as they are going by case with getting people through those specific lines. And I want to talk about Savannah for a moment, some scary moments that we saw out at Savannah International after an engine issue prompted a flight to be grounded. The Delta 737 carrying 179 passengers. As they were preparing for takeoff, there was a large boom, and our sister station WTOC has the details for you of what exactly happened and how the airline is addressing it now.
And emergency services responded to this large grass fire at the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport. Travelers we spoke with reported they were on the plane preparing for takeoff when there was a large boom. The plane took off but stayed low. Delta Airlines and the fire department confirmed that the fire was ignited by a failed engine during takeoff. The Boeing 737 was headed to Atlanta and had to safely return back to Savannah.
And the pilot finally came on and gave us an announcement saying that the engine had blown, but we had another good engine, and we're all going to be fine, and it will be on the ground in 7 to 10 minutes, which ended up being probably like 20, 25, but it was still, they made a big loop and said we're going to be fine, and we were fine. He said, he told us what to look for, that we're going to see fire trucks, and there's a lot of grass fires and things like that as a result of the boom.
They tell us the entire plane was quiet, but people were still talking. They also spoke highly of the pilot's ability to keep everyone calm during the situation. The fire was out in around 30 minutes, with passengers able to get off the plane around an hour after landing. Some flights were diverted, others were delayed.
Yeah, certainly a terrifying situation. The good news in all of this, nobody was injured. The plane was able to land and circle back around after that attempt to take off. So we are going to have that full details of that story and any other information that comes out of it for you on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com, as well as in the free Atlanta News First app. Like I mentioned, we have had a lot of breaking news and developments happening locally and nationally and internationally. Now, you can download the Atlanta News First app and have that on your phone. So when we do have stories like these, you'll get a push notification. You can click on it and get all the information you need, especially if you're a traveler. We do have additional details for you on embassy guidelines, on flight impacts, and how to check your status and navigate the airport if you are scheduled to have a flight in and out of Mexico, if you are trying to navigate the situation that is happening again across the border. I do want to talk about some of the other news that we're following, and this is now week 2 of the trial of the father of an accused school shooter here in Georgia. You might remember in 2024, the shooting at Appalachia High School devastated the community and took the lives of 2 students and 2 teachers. Well, now the father of that accused shooter standing trial for the 6th day now, as he is expected to learn his fate by a jury of his peers. And we are bringing you gavel to gavel coverage of each day of trial, including at noon each day of the week. We're bringing you an analysis with a legal expert to contextualize some of the moments that we're seeing out of this trial. Now, today we did hear from the mother of that accused shooter, standing trial, taking the stand in her husband's trial. Atlanta News First, Mary Kate Hamilton takes a look at day 6.
The jury was dismissed early on Friday after Marcy Gray, Colt Gray's mother, failed to show up. However, this morning we expect her to be the very first to testify. It would be the latest in a week now of emotional testimony. On Friday, we heard from Colt Gray's grandmother. She painted the picture of an emotionally distressed teen, testifying that Colt had been impulsive and troubled for years. She said that her grandson had mentioned that he had been reading up on the Parkland High School mass shooter, Nicholas Cruz, and prosecution showed GBI photos of a shrine to the shooter in Colt's room. Deborah also testified that during a Christmas visit in 2023, Colt had shown off a rifle.
Did Colt talk to you about a Christmas present he had gotten?
Sure.
Okay, and what was that Christmas present?
It was a gun.
Okay, and was it a rifle?
Yes.
Okay. Who did he get the Christmas present from?
From his dad.
Prosecution argues that rifle was the weapon used in the Appalachia High School shooting. Colin Gray faces up to 180 years in prison if convicted on all 29 counts. Again, Marcy Gray, Colt Gray's mother, set to testify this morning at 9 o'clock. Reporting in Barrow County, Mary Kate Hamilton, Atlanta News First.
And you can watch that again for free gavel to gavel on our website, AtlantaNewsFirst.com, under the Courts and Trials live stream. Also available on your mobile device in that free Atlanta News First app and anywhere you stream. Right now, where you are watching, you have another live stream player under Courts and Trials. That's where you can find gavel to gavel coverage. I do want to take a moment to take you inside of that courtroom so you can take a listen to the mother of the accused school shooter.
And we're going to display that for the jury. Can you tell us what that is a picture of?
That's me after I fell to the ground and I was just laying there with my hands over my head and over my eyes before I got up to go lay down.
When you went to lay down or after that, did you call the defendant and tell him what happened?
I don't think so. I didn't talk to him about it really at all.
Okay. Did you, at some point, did you leave Barrow County kind of close in time to that fight?
Yes, I did.
Tell us what prompted you leaving.
There was a number of reasons. You know, over the 5 weeks that I was there, my anxiety had started going up, like I knew it would. And that's why I'm not planning on staying there long term. And so it was getting to a point where, you know, I had the kids enrolled in school, insurance was set up, and I really needed to find myself somewhere else to live that was not with Colin. And I felt like I could get it done better and faster if I was not in that house with him.
And again, we are bringing you full coverage on ANF Plus of the Colin Gray trial. We are also highlighting key moments in testimony like this that you can watch on demand. Again, Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and anywhere you stream is where you can find us. We are also bringing you that coverage online and in the free Atlanta News First app. I also want to talk about a big day tomorrow for President Trump as he is expected to give his State of the Union address in front of Congress. This is a look at 2025 for you at his last State of the Union address. Tomorrow's is expected to begin at 9 o'clock Eastern. We are going to stream that for you in full on ANF Plus. Again, wherever you stream is where we will be bringing you that coverage of his remarks. The president is expected to get into the past year and the achievements of his administrations, as well as look forward as to his priorities for this year and outline what 2026 will have in store for his administration. But a lot of key moments came out of the previous year, his first one in office for his second term. And so we'll be able to revisit that through his remarks, as well as look to the future. We're going to bring you all of that and more on Atlanta News First Plus. Our coverage continues throughout the day. We'll be back here with Atlanta News First News at noon. bringing you coverage from around the metro Atlanta community and around the nation. And then join us right here on ANF Plus at 1 o'clock for continuing coverage. We'll be right back. For now, we're going to take you around the nation to news headlines from Local News Live.
Thank you for watching ANF Plus. For more breaking news, live coverage, and your community stories, download the Atlanta News First app. You can also watch us on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. To join the conversation on YouTube Live, visit our channel and hit subscribe. You can also listen to the Atlanta News First podcast by searching Atlanta News First on your preferred listening platform.